All right, guys, I'm going to show you my watch list for tomorrow. But real quick, I want to talk about Best Buy and how I traded today. Best Buy was on my watch list. If you watched the video last night, I liked it over yesterday's high. So I liked it at 30.23. Well, it gapped up. These are 5-minute candles. It gapped up to 30.41, pulled back, and this is a perfect setup. It reminds me of Plug the day before. Okay, although Plug had a lot more momentum and stuff. But anyway, and that's how I called Plug, by the way. The gap up, and then as it turned on a 2-minute buy setup, we bought it and made a great trade. Today, Best Buy, pretty much same thing. It gapped over the trigger I wanted, so then gives a 5-minute buy setup. And I was watching it, and it took out the high of the day before I could even call it on a 5-minute buy setup. Okay, so then what does it do? It just pretty much runs all day. And are you ready for this? I didn't take the original intelligent entry, which would have been right there with a low of day stop, and I did take this little high of day break, okay, because we had this long consolidation, and I thought, okay, well, maybe we'll get a 15, 20, 30 cent move real quick on Best Buy. But nothing was really moving today. The SPY was just doing nothing. And so there was my buy in Best Buy instead of here. Here, I'm going to show you why in a minute, all right? But so then I ended up killing it for just a few penny loss, because whenever you get a high of day break out of a tight base at the high of the day, if it doesn't go right away, I don't hang out, okay? So I didn't let it come down here and stop me out or anything. But it would have, right? It would have cost me a lot more. So I was in and out. But I'm going to show you the reason why I traded it the way I did, and then I think you'll understand. Right here, let me bring it down. There's a picture of me today, all right? Let's see if I can't make sure that's completely in the shot. That is exactly why I traded Best Buy the way I did. All right, now I'm going to go into the watch list for tomorrow. All right, CBI. CBI super beaten up from 84 down to 60 something. The reason I like this as a potential long, let me get my drawing tool going, is because after this sell-off, then you kind of put in this little bear flag and pushed down again and took out the recent lows, but that was it. Okay, now it's almost, well, probably about a month later. And you could argue that there was another bear flag right here, and you notice now it's put in a higher low. So they just can't seem to push this below 66 anymore. And now what's it doing? It's consolidating right below 70. And these are just round, rough numbers, not exact numbers. But I put a line there at resistance. I think over that line, since bears can no longer push this lower, I think the next logical move is up. If you switch to 60-minute candles, you can pretty much see it, right? Up over this line. Let me see what this high was back here. 69.75. I don't know what it hit today. 69.79. So up in the 69.80s. Of course, you're probably going to have issues with the whole number 70. Whole numbers are tough anyway, and then when you get them to where they're divisible by 10, they can be even more of a psychological barrier, but it doesn't mean it can't just push right through 70. So CBI is on my long watch list. A little bit of a thinner one here, MLNX. Nice volume pop back here, and then it pulled back for a few days, and then put in a green day today. Wasn't really watching it today because it's just a thinner stock. Traded 800,000 today. But I like this. I like this little break of yesterday's high. These are 15-minute candles. And up over today's high, which would be 38.31. So 38.32 might get this thing headed higher again. I would have rather had this on bounce watch today, but I wasn't watching it. And that would have been a break of this little flag right here. But anyway, MLNX. In my notes, I have 38.32. It doesn't mean that's where I'll take it. If it gaps way down and then gets up there, forget about it, and so on. Or if the market has a big gap, all these change. But it's always good to start your day with a list of potential setups. Again, AMSC, normally I would have had this on watch after 3 days down in the big volume move, and I just didn't. And so now, look what this did, by the way. It's been basing for a few days after the big move. Let me switch to 5-minute, 265,000 in the last 5 minutes. So, and I didn't have this on watch today, but that's enough to get me to watch this thing going into tomorrow. You got to like it over 2. You have another catalyst just to the left of 211, which would be a break of the high of that initial 10 million plus share spike, okay? So that's interesting to me. I like it over 2 with a potential catalyst 211. Secondary potential catalyst. Let's see, IP. Earlier in the chat room today, I said IP on a chart, and then I said, you know what, that sounds weird. But I did put IP on a chart. It gapped down a couple days ago, and then sold off again today pretty hard, big volume. But this purple line here is the 200-day. And the whole number 47 is right there. So I have this on bounce watch. I'm going to be watching it really closely if it touches that 200-day tomorrow for an intraday bounce. Just didn't really get any kind of bounce today, but after that big sell-off, and the 200-day there, I think it is worth having on a chart. BIOF, again, big mover at times, and now you've got a couple days down near the 8-day moving average. I like this a couple ways. One, on a high of day break if it trades in a narrow range for a while tomorrow, or two, if it gets down around 73.50, I'll be looking for a turn back up, because I like this thing. Whenever you get a big move like that in a couple days down, that 8-day moving average can play a big role. It's a great place to nibble on some, and then maybe you get the secondary setup I just talked about, which would be a tight base and a high of day break later. Also, of course, got to have plug on watch. You know, this, a lot of people look at this chart and say, well, it's lower from here, but I just think this could be a normal pullback. And let's see here. Let's see, the initial pop and then the second day back here, you had some resistance at 512. I don't know if it's going to get down there. You also had the last pullback went down to 528. So these are areas that are interesting that I'll be looking for a turn back up in plug. I didn't do that very well at all, but see if I can move that a little bit. Well, it doesn't matter. I like it right there around 530-ish for a potential turn. Again, none of these, I don't just blindly take any of these. Everything depends on how the market's trading, how the individual stocks are trading as well. And you know what? That's enough. We'll find stuff. The chat room folks in the chat room are great at spotting stuff making a big move on volume, and then we get a lot of trades off of that as well. So I'm going to leave the list at that, and then we'll top it off tomorrow with other stuff as the day's unfolding. So have a great night. We'll talk to you tomorrow.